just a good old boy.
Hey y'all, I get asked this question quite often, it seems, and I want to talk a little bit about what I like to see in tractors. I've got two different brands and 3 different model tractors here. One is a 4 series. Both of these would be considered a 5 series tractor. This one's a McCormick, this is the Massey, and this is the Massey Ferguson. Now, I'm not going to be bashing brands or anything like that. That is not my point of this. This video is solely intended to show my dream tractor setup, what I would like to have, because a lot of people ask me that. At the end, I'm also going to go over some of the things that I look for in equipment when I'm looking at it, as far as the quality of the machine and how it goes, and what I actually look for when I look at these tractors and do these reviews. This is going to be not a review. This is just solely what I want to see in a dream tractor someday. We'll start with the radiators at the front of the tractors, and we'll go with that. Looks can look pretty much anything. I would say that you notice all 3 of these are red. My favorite color is red. It doesn't have anything to do with brand anything. My pickup's red. Ever since I was a kid, my favorite color is red. So it would be a red tractor with silver wheels. I just think that really looks good. That's just my personal preference. So let's take a look at the radiator packs and the different styles you see. This radiator here on this McCormick is a tilt design. It kind of folds forward so you can get in here and blow these cool packs out. You still can't get to this one. It does not have screens. This one here is a sliding design to get to these radiator packs. Right here, and you could slide the cool cells out. Now, one thing about the 5400 series here is it's a little bit difficult with these hydraulic lines to get the actual cooling packs out to where you can blow them out. Maintenance is a key thing for me. I really like ease of maintenance. I like the batteries in front because it makes it easier to hook up to jump them off or something, or change the batteries. I haven't really seen any difference in cooling on the different brands from having the battery in front to in the back. I haven't seen that. We've owned several tractors that's this style or that's this style, such as these 2 that are here. I like the batteries in front. I think it makes easier access. I do like a folding hood. It would have a folding hood just like this one does and just like this one does. This tractor has the lift off sides. That's one of the main things I have a complaint with this series, which they've since changed this. Now don't get me wrong. This tractor's an 08, this tractor's an 04, and this tractor here is a 18. I believe it's 18. Yes, that's the tractor. Here's an 18. So I mean, you've got a lot of variance in age, price, and everything else on what these tractors are actually built to do. This is more of an economy line tractor. Again, I'm not poking at the tractors. For the price points that these tractors were priced at, they're all very decent price tractors and good at the time. Now, I like the batteries in front. I like the air cleaner right here where you can easily get to it. I don't like them back there because when they get behind the loader mounts and stuff, you can't get to them. They are okay if they're here, but it seems to make a taller hood when you get all that stuff up there in front. Now, with these radiators, this side over here this tractor has screens. I like the screens, kind of like this, one big screen for the whole cell. I like that idea. And I also like this sliding design. Kubota did a very good job at the expo. I noticed that they had come up with this same kind of style. The one thing I do not like about that particular style, then again, not picking, they actually have a really good design as a whole. It's just one little thing I'd change, is these kind of move up and down really loosely on that tractor, whereas this one they don't. I think they should put a little tighter system here and they slide all the way out, versus this one it does, and it only comes out about halfway and you have to push it back through. I really like that design, to be able to pull those packs out. And I'll tell you what, if you space these out, which is also another very good design when they're spaced out, there's kind of a little bit of an argument there of will it allow more dirt to get in there being they're spaced out more. I think that's why a lot of these manufacturers try to put these cool cells together. which is fine. I mean, it helps keep seeds out and stuff like that when they're sealed tightly as far as screens and stuff to help prevent it. But when you go to clean them out, they're a pain, and that's where the sliding deal comes in. I really like that, and it's easily slid out to where you can get it all the way out, and the hoses are plenty long enough to get it out to where you can access all these cool cells good. The key thing with these tractors and engine life is maintenance and being able to keep these radiator packs and stuff blowed out. I'm spending a little extra time on this because this is a key thing that I really want to see eventually in the future, is cool cells that slide all the way out on whatever brand it is, that's easily done, that have screens as well. That's a really good design that I like. The spacing is nice. Can't say anything about that. Another thing, I don't know which one would be better because I haven't had either one, but either design would be a very good design. Another thing I would love to see, especially for like mowing hay, we mow a lot of hay with these tractors, or bush hogging or whatever, you get a lot of seeds in the radiator. I would love to see a reversible fan design on these 5 series tractors, or even the 4 series. All the tractors really should have, I would love to see have, or the tractor that I would like to have, it would be a reversible fan tractor to help clean out those seeds. It's all about keeping those seeds out and trash out of that. Now, this tractor has 3-cylinder, this tractor has a 4-cylinder, or Duets has a 3-cylinder, this McCormick has a 4-cylinder. Preferably, I like 4-cylinder engines. We have had 2 of these 3-cylinder tractors, had no issues at all with the engines, been very good, not throwing off on or nothing, but just old school design. If I had a dream tractor, it'd have 4 cylinders, or if it was an even bigger tractor, it'd have 6. That's just kind of one thing that I really like the looks of when I look at tractors. Another thing is the front axle. I do not like the axles that have the double gearboxes on the end, one over the other. I like a solid axle all the way through with hubs and shafts. They're just heavier for loader work and stuff, and seem to be a little more durable as far as the front ends. And I really like a wide tractor that's long. They ride better, they go across the field and work better carrying it. It's just a lot more comfortable tractor to have a longer frame that's wider. I do not like short frame tractors. We have tight fields and I still do not like them. They ride rough, they're bouncy in the front end, they're just not a comfortable tractor. You've got to put cab suspension, you've got to have air ride seats, you got to have front suspension, you've got to have all this crap just trying to make it ride good, which adds to expense, when the simple thing to do is just simply lengthen the tractor back out to where it should be, and you won't have all those issues. Put a little bit, maybe a fatter tire that you can run a little lower air pressure, such as these, with a hard tread but decent soft sidewall in it. These Trailborg tires, a tractor that I would want would have Trailborg tires on it. They ride really good and they seem to be wearing very good. Really pleased with those. I love the Michelins too, the Agri Rib. They do not wear out, but I will say one downside to the Michelins is the sidewalls tend to be stiffer and they have a little bit more a typical rougher ride. That's why I like the Trailborgs better, and I give the go ahead on my perfect tractor in my mind would have that. Obviously newer tractors all have DEF. Preferably I would want a dream tractor not to have that, but the reality is if we're buying tractors nowadays with the current laws, they're going to have it unless you're 70 horse and under, which you can get tractors 70 horse and under without any emissions. I do like the SCR system, which is a DOC system, diesel oxidation catalyst, I believe is what it is. Basically a catalytic converter that uses DEF fluid and injects it into the system, and it causes a chemical reaction. There is no heat other than normal exhaust temperatures with the SCR system versus a EGR, DPF, SCR, DOC, all that crap on them. With some tractors you will see every kind of system. A lot of people don't understand the systems and why they have all this stuff, DPF filters on the pipes, everything else. What it all boils down to is the dirtier that engine runs, which is the efficiency as well, is the more crap they have to put on it to clean it to meet the emissions. So a tractor with a DPF, EGR, and all that other mess that's on it besides just this is burning a dirtier emissions. It's basically creating smoke, which is unburned fuel as well. That's another thing to look at. I've noticed it seems to tend that the tractors with the SCR system versus DPF and all that other stuff tend to get a lot better fuel miles because the engines are more efficient and they're cleaner burning and they're getting more out of each drop of fuel as far as power and burning it up than the other engines. If you have a tractor with EGR and DPF on it, what the EGR does is it recirculates unburned or burned exhaust fumes back through your fresh air intake into your engine, and that is not good. I have a lot of experiences with these systems, experience and everything, and that is not a good system. At all costs, try to avoid EGRs. DPF is the filters that get extremely hot to burn that soot that comes out of the fuel. I don't like those. You have to deal with burn-offs, and then those filters will plug eventually. When they get full over time, it will happen, and they are very expensive. You're looking at $2,000 plus for just those filters. Ideally, I don't want any of it because I think it's stupid. Especially for ag use, there's not enough tractors running out there to make any difference really at all. I prefer they didn't have any of it, but if I am going to have it, I want an SCR system because it's simpler, it's cheaper to maintain, and all the tractors now come with DEF fluid no matter what you do pretty much. So you're not really, you're lessening your expense versus gaining, I guess is my point. So 4-cylinder SCR system, slidable packs on the radiator, screens on it, reversible fan, air cleaner in the front, and battery. So that about covers the transmission will do, the engine stuff. Transmission, I love a power shift style transmission. This has the Dyna 4, as y'all know, in my tractor. This is more of a 6-speed, very nice. Cannot complain about the 6-speed in this tractor. It's been a very good tractor for the price point. It's not even 2 years old yet. We've got between 700 and 800 hours on it. Very good tractor so far, no issues. I'm not throwing off on it. I do like, if you don't get a power shift, I do like a splitter to kind of help add gears. This tractor here is a 4-speed on high and low. This tractor here is 6-speed on high and low, but this one does have the splitter. You hadn't really gained a whole lot with this tractor versus this one because this one is 6-speed, so they're very similar as far as that. It would be a nice touch if you were going to 6-speed or something to have the splitter, but honestly I would just, in my dream tractor, it would have a power shift transmission. I just feel like they're better. Large fuel tank capacities, they need to have enough fuel to last working all day extremely hard. They should never run out of fuel in a day. That's one thing I would want on a tractor. This tractor here, I can run this tractor, this 5400, for 2 days working the crap out of it and still have plenty of fuel. DEF fluid, same thing. They should always have enough DEF fluid to make it through at least a 12-hour day, if not more than that. We spend a lot of hours in these tractors, and having to stop and refill DEF fluid is just annoying. So the tanks should at least be big enough. If you're working a tractor at its maximum capacity that it's capable of, it should have plenty of stuff to last all day, every day, no matter what series it is something that I want to see in my perfect tractor. Not saying that anything here is not this way. Again, this is not a review of these machines. This is what I want to see in my perfect tractor. Rear links, double adjusters on each link is a must for me. I really like that. I would actually like to see this style hookup on here instead of these slide outs. I think that's the way of the future. Just makes life so much easier having those quick hookups on. This one does have the quick attach on it, but the actual pieces that are made here, like you see a lot in Europe, that are the quick attaches, are extremely nice. Heavy duty lift cylinders is a must. Both of these tractors are featured with that. The McCormick is older, which typically back then you never saw those on these size tractors. It did not have any. It was the old style. It was solely internal lift and everything. I prefer the really big heavy cylinders. You see a lot of smaller cylinder and stuff on the rear end, and I don't like that. I like the bigger, thicker cylinders. They just seem to, they have a good look to them. They're just beefier. I really like that. As far as the PTO goes, I like 540, 540E, and 1000 have those all options on these particular size tractors, because when you sacrifice one, you're always wanting the other. That's the thing. And 540E is very important for fuel consumption, especially with these emission systems now. Just to help save you even more money if you're not pulling something that necessarily needs the full power, like a Tedder or something. It's really nice to have that feature. To hold up the center link, I love this design that these 5400 series had. I would want this on my dream tractor no matter what it was. They're way better than, say, that design where they had the little holder. This one has the same thing right here that they just hook in. They flop around everywhere. Most tractors, that's all they have. This is actually one of the only tractors I've ever seen with this. The thing don't flop at all and it's stationary. I really like that design they had. Hydraulic ports, I like them facing at an angle here to where they're easier accessed than straight back. That would be on my dream tractor. They would have flip covers on them. I really like the flip cover design instead of the plugs. Most tractors, though, you see have the plugs still in the 5 series unless you did the add-on. That would be my dream tractor, would be to have the flip plugs on the back. Also have ports right here for plug-ins for balers, whatever, built into where you can actually do stuff. Would be on a dream tractor. Not necessarily have the plug there, but have places to mount them. Is really nice to touch. Fender buttons would be on my dream tractor, up and down. I'd also would like a PTO button. Necessarily don't need up and down the hydraulics. It would be nice for hooking up 3-point mowers especially, but for me personally, I would like to see those buttons on. It just really makes life a lot easier. The stabilizer links, this is a really tough, durable design they have here. It's basically screw out and pin back there to hold it, but these here are a lot quicker and nicer. I would actually prefer to have this with the pin style design. They seem to be pretty tough too. And reliable. That's one thing. Hydraulic checkpoints, I prefer a dipstick because there's no question with that. It's easier to see. I will say this, the sight glasses are nice. I've noticed Massey's now went to putting dye in the hydraulic fluid so you can easily see that. That was a nice touch. They are nice, but I still prefer a dipstick. I'm just old school. I like dipsticks instead of sight glasses, just because there's no question if you can't see or if you're half blind. It's a little bit easier to see, or you can feel it anyway on the dipstick. So that's the rear end of the tractor. Love a big honking rear end, heavy duty like that. That's built really well. Let's get in the tractors, and I want to go over some of the things that I look for in a tractor when I get in one. This is where these are going to vary, and this tractor is dirty. I've been working it pretty hard lately. With the cab, we'll start with the power shuttle and the steering column. I love a fully telescopic steering wheel. That would be in my dream tractor for sure. Power shuttle. Massey has, I think, has a patent on this design. This has got to be the best forward and reverser on the market. It's just easy. It flows in your hand. There's no trying to get it in here. It's made out of steel. It feels tough when your hand. It's not something that's just going to break over if you bump it the wrong way or something, or hit it going out of the tractor. It's built tough and it's just comfortable. It feels so good in your hand. And then with the power shift, you can actually shift this way or down in your hand and never have to take your hand off of it if you don't want to. I really like that power shuttle design, or something similar to that in my perfect tractor. I do like the instrument clusters that kind of come back, or the pillar things. That looks really nice and just a nice overall touch. Not real picky on everything else, where the keys at or anything. It doesn't really matter to me. Pedals, everything. I like the rubber on the pedals. I like a little bit of a wide pedal because of this. See, your boot kind of gets hung. If you have a wider foot, kind of like I do, on one or the other, if you're trying to hit one or the other. Throttle pedal is location pretty well good on most of them. I do like to have it away from the side though, to where it's more comfortable out in here. Large cab would be on my dream tractor. As far as the heating and cooling, obviously you want the best heating and cooling you can get, because you can always turn it down rather than up. I like the top vents for AC, and for heat it would be nice to have them at the bottom, just because heat rises and AC kind of naturally comes downward, so it just works out better that way. The 383 was actually a tractor that had the heat in the floor, and then it had the AC in the top. That was always seemed to be a nice touch with those tractors to me. Defrost vents around the side, I really like that as far as the way they go around. Pull down thing would be on my dream tractor. And now's when we're going to get into the nitty gritty. One thing that no tractors in these sizes do, is that I've noticed, is actually have a place set up perfectly to mount monitors and stuff. And in today's ag, we all have monitors. It's baler monitors, sprayer control boxes, GPSs. I mean, a lot of my stuff's out. There's 2 of the boxes that mount here, and then the sprayer control goes here. This screen here is for ag hams and stuff to monitor the machinery behind me and what all's going on there. I know a lot of this stuff seems dumb, but when you're in this thing for 12 hours a day, it really helps, especially being able to see the back of the baler to know if something's going wrong, or if the bale's clear of the chamber and everything and stuff like that, without having to turn your neck. You can just look up there at that screen. Would like to see more built-in stuff, kind of to where you can mount something maybe on the handlebar down here. I kind of like them lower. I would not be against a rail system across the top, but the key thing I would like to see in my dream tractor is either here on the pillar, if it has one, or the console, or up top. I would like to actually see something like this, where you have the plugs but multiples, maybe 3 to 4. Maybe if you, for that company's equipment, maybe have some easy plug-ins for your monitors, or cigarette lighter plug-ins up there, because we all run these, and it's nice to be able to just plug and go, and maybe take the monitor out real quick and go to the next tractor if you need to, and unplug it, rather than having to run make an entire wiring harness to run all this stuff, hook it to the power and everything else. And in the future, I think that that is something that you want to see out of modern tractors, is more stuff put in to make putting monitors and stuff in easier. And that's something I see across the board with all brands, that people are constantly saying is flexibility there. Sliding rail like they have on the Fence and the Challengers, Massey or Agco does, is really nice. The Fence have up here in the Challengers on their big tractors, right here what I'm talking about. And I would love to see that in these smaller tractors. Necessarily doesn't have to be as elaborate as that, but just have a few plug-ins here or something as a whole on any tractor. Now over here, as far as your cab view and everything that you got going on here, I like this. Not a lot of the tractors you're seeing are going to a 1-post design here, and this completely open, which is great for seeing what's in here. But if you have this mower, or any 3-point mower, or pretty much a mower like that off to your side, and there's a post here, that's clear right in your obstruction of view. A lot of people's different. A lot of people would rather have this open, 1 post here, and a wider back glass. But that post is always going to be right here in your way, and I don't like that. I actually like the curved right in here to open this whole view up. Ideally, it would be nice if all this was open, but from a safety standpoint, I don't know if you could structurally do that and it actually be safe. So I don't, that might present a challenge, but I do like having this area open. There's not generally a lot right in here that you can't see here. So my thing is, I would rather have this area open, so that way I could clearly see the machinery implement that I'm pulling. And when you're doing close to fence posts and stuff, you can see it without having to do this number, dodging back and forth, looking on each side of the post, trying to see what you're doing. I love the sight glass down here, right here, so that way you can see all the way down in there next to the tires or something when you're feeding hay, if it's hanging up or balling behind the tractor. Is a nice feature to have. Just being able to see this for leaks or anything on top of the valve body is extremely nice. Did see that these are some tractors had these that were removable. That's a nice touch to be able to clean that. The back glass obviously would open. I also like double doors that open, so you can get in either door if you need to. As far as getting access in here to hook monitors up and do stuff like that. Pop out windows and stuff is really nice. That's pretty well that. Now the console, I like a big console on this side for options and stuff here to flip switch or have everything, but I also like an armrest system that's here, and it doesn't, some of the armrests seem to be very bulky, and in my dream tractor it would be a little bit slimmer, a little more simple right here. I don't necessarily like all the keypad flip through screens. I actually like toggle switches like this better to make adjustments and things. It just seems simpler, it's a lot more reliable than if you have to place a huge screen and everything. Switch is pretty cheap. But as far as the armrest itself, I would like a more slimmer, heavy built, something that's not flopping around. I have gotten some that they are automatically flopping around and just don't feel very good. The quality in the cab, I like a cab that feels good when you get in. I don't like a cab that just feels cheap and like you're going to break something when you put it in your hand. I cannot stand that feeling. That's where I really go back to this, is that because when you're working these things all day long, eventually if it feels cheap when you first get in it, it's going to break. And I like a good, well-designed, heavy interior that's going to stand up to the wear of time. And I like the big consoles on this side. But on this, just maybe a simple design on the armrest, just a little joystick for, or just have a forward reverser button on the armrest, and maybe a 3-point up and down switch there, and then have maybe 1 to 2 spool valves built in for here. For that way you could, and on the little switch maybe have, say, the T handle right here for changing the speeds and everything. My dream tractor would also have a auto shift feature in the power shift to at certain RPMs for like loader work. Then you could just press the throttle if you want to go faster, and it'll shift naturally through the transmission when you're doing loader work. And then maybe have a loader joystick right here that has a forward and reverser also on it, so that way you change directions. Not have a shifter change for speed and everything, but just do the joystick functions. Have a power shift or forward and reverser switches on it to toggle if you want, and just keep that part, just keep it simple. The main thing is cost. Don't want to pay a fortune. Just simplicity, and being able to get it as cost effective as possible to have those features would be really nice. I know that a lot of those are really nice features that I'm talking about, but I think if you took some of that and just moved it over here, maybe made this smaller and kind of put that in, it wouldn't be that huge of a difference. Is all I'm asking, is maybe have some of those features on the armrest. But that's pretty well in the cab. Don't really know of anything else. A good buddy seat is a plus. I really like that seat in that tractor versus this one. It's a little harder. But a good buddy seat these days, I mean, the kids and everything, for me, they really like to ride and stuff, so it's nice to have a buddy seat in the tractor for somebody to hop in and ride with you if they want. On the outside of the tractor, a few things is I would want LED lights all the way around, from top to bottom on the sides here, kind of like this tractor has, and then on the fenders as well is a nice touch. I didn't go over that. Another thing is to change your PTO shaft. It would be my ideal tractor is to actually have the clip design like this has, which is like a little push together clip versus the bolts. It's just quicker to change. This style here is nicer about which it has about not getting oil, losing any oil, because it literally just unbolts straight off and you don't ever pull anything out besides just the stub shaft itself on the end, versus the older style when you changed them and pulled them out, you would lose a little fluid. but they are quicker to change out than all the bolt design, which neither one of them is really bad. Preferably, I mean, it takes up a lot more room. The McCormick or old International design was actually probably the coolest design with 2 shafts, and then you don't ever have to change it out. But it does have the double adjusters like I'm talking about on each side too. That's a key thing for me. I really like having the ability to adjust it. Yes, you can pick it up with the buttons and adjust one side to fit the other side, but it's still nice to have that option. And that's just kind of where I'm at. And I'm not picking on any of these tractors. This is a 4 Series tractor, and we've had really good luck out of it, and it's meant to fit a certain price range, and it is perfect for that. I mean, that is a really nice tractor for the price point it comes in at, and it's done it really heavy too, and it does a really good job. Mostly what I'm talking about is more on a 5 Series tractor, period, across the board is what I like to see, because that's kind of where we're at. Maybe a 6 Series too, and what I like to see. But the main thing is cost. With ag these days and the prices we're at, we cannot afford tractors that necessarily cost what some of these things are costing now. We got to get the cost down, and I'm willing to sacrifice some things. I don't have to have a power shift transmission. I can deal with a 6-speed manual transmission if need be to cut costs and stuff, and not have a lot of this stuff. Main thing to me is with equipment these days is just to have flexibility options. Have a base tractor and have it to where you can work that same chassis all the way up to have the features that you want. Equipment's the same way, balers, everything. Price flexibility. Let the farmer or producer pick and choose what features he thinks is better for him and his farm, and options. Maybe have a manual transmission, but with the armrest kind of thing. Maybe have just like spool valves on a smaller armrest that you can sit there and use those. That's just a nice feature to me. I really enjoy. And just a little simple stuff, maybe customizable more to fit our needs and our cost, and let us determine what fits us. And to have a lot of flexibility in a tractor and one chassis, that way I would think it'd be cheaper to produce that way. It's kind of my forethought on this. And again, this is not, these tractors are from a lot of different year ranges and different options, and each one had different options during their time. I'm not doing a review on these tractors. We ordered these tractors the way they are to fit price points and the jobs they were doing at that time and the options that were available at that time. So I'm not attacking these tractors at all. Another thing is I would want the quick attach hydraulic valve body for the loader, especially as much as we take loaders on and off. The flat face valves like this tractor had, I changed them out, which it has one now because I've got to get a new piece to go here to get that leak to stop. These flat faced are good couplers, but when they get pressure on them, they're hard to hook up. That's my only complaint with flat face couplers, is they're very difficult to get to hook up if you get pressure on them on the loader side, and you can't get it off easily. Other than that, I guess for me personally, being we changed the loader so much, we probably should get the quick hookup style versus that in the future. But another thing, as far as what I look at in equipment when I'm buying it, and this goes for every piece of equipment, weight is number one. You can tell more on how a tractor is built internally. Outside it may look beefy as it can be, but internally is where it really counts, and it's all about the weight. A lot of tractors will look beefy and heavy, but when you actually look at the weights, they're not that heavy. And when I say weights, I mean weight as in tractors with no ballast weights, no center cast pieces in here to make the tractor weigh more, so that way it looks like it's weighing more when in fact it actually doesn't. And that's what I look at, is the base weight of the machine without ballast. That's a key thing. You don't want cast weights in the wheels counted in. and everything. And when I say that, I mean like the little ones in the inside or the big ones, either way, or front weights, any of that. You want us to look at the actual base weight of the machines together. Because if this one weighs 1,000 pounds more than that one, or that one, obviously, and they're all three about the same price, obviously there's a huge difference in the quality of steel and internal parts in this tractor versus the other two, or vice versa, whichever one. I'm not just pointing at that one in particular, but that's the key thing when you really look at them. And then you can get in kind of to the nitty gritty of options and features and everything else and kind of go from there. But internal parts are key. Parts, to me, acceptable parts deals is to have the parts, common parts they should have, like filters and stuff on stock, or normal wear parts they should have in stock in the dealer. Other stuff that's maybe a specialty part necessarily don't see, but it's kind of common, maybe 2 days. Really specialty parts should take 3 days. I mean, at least then after you get broke down, you have to count in the time just to fix it to get it back up and going. And our time is very valuable anymore. We have to constantly keep moving to turn a profit, and that's key. And that I look for that too, is parts and serviceability, dealer support. Can you get a rep or company representative past your dealer to come out? Dealer itself is extremely important. Are they willing to go above and beyond to help you? And taking parts off of machines that may be there to keep you going if necessarily they don't have it stock is the utmost respectable position to me. I mean, that says everything when that happens. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff I look for in a dealer. Price flexibility, willing to work with you on pricing, not set hard. Oh, I've got to make 10,000 on this tractor, and I'm not selling a tractor unless I can make 10,000. And even charging that much over what, and there's dealers that do it, over what the tractor actually costs. I mean, it's just absurd to me. You may have the best customer support in the world, but I'm not going to get ripped off just to pay you back for all that. I mean, that's just crap. You should have the customer service anyway through the company that you're dealing with. These companies should supply you customer service to the point to where the dealer can pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got an issue here we can't get straightened out, and they send a guy out and fix it. That is perfect. That's what you want to see out of a company, or you can directly talk to a specialist on a particular part of that thing, and they can walk you through it if you're in a real big bind, and say that the dealer can't necessarily do it themselves, which sometimes happens on certain components on these tractors, and that's acceptable to me. I don't have any problem with that, because you can't expect them to know every single thing through and through every time. There's always going to be one thing every so often that comes up, and you got to get support from the companies just as much as you do the dealer, and the dealer is a huge key in who you do business with. You got to find a good dealer that's willing to work for you and that will answer the phone. And that's kind of what we deal with. I mean, we've got a good dealer in Kane Equipment. If you'll notice, most of our equipment is Kane Equipment stuff, and they've been very good to us. They've done all those things and just went out of their way to help us out, and I can't recommend them enough to everybody. They do not pay me, but they're an exceptional place to do business. And I just want to say that about them, and I say thanks again to them for all that they do for us and keeping us profitable. And thank you all for watching.